My name is Daniel Scott with UDAYA.com, and this is Average Joga, a series of easy-to-digest yoga tutorials for people who don't do yoga yet. Take what you like, leave what you don't, go at your own pace, and learn to build your practice from the ground up. Arm balancing can be really fun. It can also be really challenging depending on your relationship to the ground in front of you, your relationship to the body that you're working with, and your relationship to how your practice looks versus how your practice feels. So we're going to focus solely on how it feels to connect to the ground in order to pour energy through the connection points to lift our body off of it. And when we do arm balancing, we generally think it's in the arms. And you know what? You'd be right in thinking that. But there's one thing we don't talk about. When we talk about arm balancing, often it's hands. Sure, we say put your hands on the ground, but that's a very, very general cue for something that is such an articulate tool that we have. I mean, look at all this movement that we have in our hands. Let's learn how to connect with it better. Take a look at your hands. You've got 3 lines in your hands. The first line is the finger pads, which are really where the fingerprints are. So think about where you'd put on a fingerprint scanner in order to enter or exit a country. So that's your first line. Thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pinky. If you have 5 fingers, that is. Now, second line is where the finger meets the palm. That's the knuckles. So you have the line that runs from where the fingertips and the palms meet, right there. Fingers and the palms meet. The third line is from the tip of the thumb all the way through the base of the palm where the wrist is to the outside edge. So if you think about those 3 lines of energy, those 3 lines want to be on the ground at all times. And just like the arch of your foot lifts off the ground, the arch of the palm, which is the center of the palm, doesn't necessarily have to be on the ground if those 3 lines are grounded. So let's take it to the mat and see how it works. So you can start by just placing your hands at the front of the mat, tenting the fingers, pressing the finger pads, the fingerprints, into the ground, and then drawing in and up so you activate and energize the palm. If you take one hand and you kind of take your fingers, your peace fingers, and try to feel into your palm, you're going to feel like you could eat a bowl of soup or a bowl of cereal out of that. That's really important. You want to have that light bulb twisting kind of energy. That's going to help you strengthen and lengthen and ground down through line number 1 of the finger pads. Now, once you've got that pretty strong, it's like you're sort of groping the mat, you're massaging the mat into the ground. It's very nice. You're going to start, maybe lift the thumbs up and then roll down the fingers to just the knuckle line, that second line, and then place the thumbs and then lower that big thumb joint, the thenar eminence, onto the ground, and then pour the outside edge of the hand down as well. So now you have 2 lines of energy. So what you can do is you can lift up and lower down the base of the palm, keeping pressing through the thumbs, lifting up, lifting down, lifting up, lifting down. And there's a good chance if you don't do this exercise often, right off the bat, after 3 or 4 extensions, you're going to feel the forearms start to activate. You're going to see all the vascularity come out. And you go, wow, this is working. And you know what? It is. Think about things in terms of superheroes. As a Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man, when he shoots his webbing, he's shooting energy out of the bottom of his wrist. Pew, pew. Wolverine, more of a claw guy like this, pushing through the forearms. So when we're trying to take energy to the base of our palm, you're a lot of Spider-Man, right? But you want to be a little more like Wolverine. We're doing our arm balancing right now. So think about that Wolverine forearm energy, fingertips, knuckles, and then drop the base of the palm and begin to pull in the fingertips from the first line into the second line and then pour weight down through that third line, the base of the palm. So you got your Spider-Man active energy to stack the palm, the base of the palm, but then you're using your Wolverine energy through the knuckles and the fingertips. You have a very strong grip. You can even see here on this hand, my knuckles are coming up of the fingers, but the knuckles where the fingers attach to the palm going down. Line 1, line 2, line 3, pressed in very strongly. Now, take your shoulders back behind your wrists, and you feel the weight going into the base of the palm, into the knuckles, into the fingertips. Stack the weight over the wrists, keeping weight in the base of the palm, the knuckles, and the fingertips, and you feel it pretty even throughout all points of those hands. So play with that. If you take the hands back, the weight moves towards the fingertips. If you take the weight over the wrists, it goes through the wrists. But if you take the weight past the fingertips, it pushes in that middle part of the knuckle, puts a lot of energy into the crease of the wrist. Being very mindful of where your shoulders are in relation to your hands is going to help you understand where you're putting your weight as you start to lift up. So take the weight out of the hands for a bit. And if you need to shake it out, that's great. Don't get too loose. Don't try to make like wrist circles. If anything, take long, wide hand grips, and then to release in the wrist, slowly turn the hands like this, like you're applauding in sign language. This keeps the wrist active and it releases at the same time. Now, arm balancing is all about learning how to keep the bones stacked so you can pour weight through the bones and use muscles to keep the bones aligned. So the moment you break a bone stacking, this is a long line. The moment I break the elbow, I don't want to break it, but as long as I break the line, you can see how I start making a muscle. Muscles can hold the line of energy, but bones can support the weight much easier. So work on trying to find pouring weight through bones as opposed to holding weight up through muscle primarily. So the one arm balance that we're going to focus on is crow. Now, crow is a lot of fun if you have the basics down. So this is a basic entry into crow. The full expression of crow is going to have fingertips, knuckles, base of palm. And then you're going to see everyone, like, at its highest forms, the knees are coming into the triceps. You're pouring weight in and you're lifting your feet up and you're holding the arm straight. Now, that's all well and good if you have a practice and you feel super engaged in the core and your shoulders are open and your arms are strong. But if you just try to hop into that, you end up doing a face plant, which tends to be the one fear that most people have when trying to do arm balancing. So we're going to take the whole face plant action out of the way. In order to do that, use your fingers very strongly. Use the pads of the fingers, use the knuckles to keep weight from going past the shoulders, past the wrists. So instead of having the fingers forward, turn the fingers in. And then instead of having the elbows straight, you're going to bend the elbows. Now, I know I said you want to put weight through bones, but notice this. If you're able to pour weight through the back of the elbow, it's going to pour weight through the forearm. So this is what we're going to try to do, is set up a platform to balance our weight on our arms. So starting from the hands turned in, bending the elbows, take your knees wide and hug in as best you can to the triceps. So that's those meaty bits above the elbows on the outside. If you bend the elbows a decent amount, you start creating a platform for that thigh to hook into the tricep. Now, if you're old enough to remember the Thigh Master or young enough to look at YouTube to find out what the heck a Thigh Master is, it's that same movement of the legs hugging in to hook into the triceps. So what I want you to try to work on is creating a strong enough grip in the legs and then being able to pour weight forward and back from the feet to the hands, to the feet, to the hands, to the feet, and dropping the tailbone, dropping the knees. If this is hard, stick with it. Give it a couple days, give it a week. Spend a few minutes every day pouring weight from the feet to the hands, from the hands back to the feet. And then eventually you can start working on the second round, which is finding a little bit of lift. Fingertips, knuckles, base of palm, elbows bent, thigh master those triceps with the knees. Begin to pour weight forward and back. Now, face plant city happens when you start going so far forward that you feel like you're going to stop your body falling by putting your face down. So generally, keeping the chin lifted helps you keep an eye on where you're going. If you look down, you tend to go down. If you look forward, you tend to move forward. Remember, your energy will go where your eyes are going. Energy flows where the eyes go. So if you keep the chin lifted, fingertips, knuckle, base of palm, bend the elbows, hug the thighs in, lifting, pouring weight from the feet to the hands. Instead of just hopping the feet up, try to pick one foot up, put it back down. Pick another foot up, put it back down, put your tailbone down. That's your second week of working this out. Now, over time, if you want to start really trying the lift, there's nothing I can say to flip a magic switch. If you don't have the strength to do it, it's not going to happen. But if you don't have the flexibility, it's not going to happen. But if you give it time, it might happen. So the third and final progression, fingertips, knuckles, base of palms, elbows out, thigh master in, chin lifts, tailbone lifts, navel's drawing in, pouring weight to the hands, one foot, other foot, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, foot down, tailbone down, knees down, everything down. Whew. Now, my excitement about this could be your excitement about this, But if this is something that is definitely challenging you, never fear, intrepid yogi. You can do this. You just need to learn how to listen to your body to tell you what you need to work on. So if you're just trying to hop in and hold it, you're robbing yourself of the beautiful journey of learning how to activate and engage all of the muscles necessary to make this happen, all of the awareness of how to align the bones, and all of the fun of messing up. So give yourself the opportunity to make a few mistakes, safe ones, so that you can learn from them and ultimately create the practice that you want. So, how'd all that land for you? Hopefully, it sparked a fire. And if you're looking to fan the flame, head over to UDAYA.com and enter the promo code AVERAGE Joga. You're going to have access to a lot more classes from myself and a host of amazing teachers from around the world of all shapes, styles, and colors. By all means, let this serve as a great foundation to build a home practice on that you can have for the rest of your life. Enjoy, enjoy.